Hello. Good evening. It is currently 8 p.m. And today was daylight savings that I sprung up on me just like that hour I lost. Anyway, it's not much to say about what we're doing today. We're just reading, and reading some more. But we are reading chapters 7 through 9 and Psalms 55. And there was a devotional today. It was a word study about the word Lord and the origination and the translation and all of the in-between of Lord to Adonai to Jehovah. I can explain this how I saw it, but I can also just explain this how it was presented. So in a minute, we will learn that Yahweh, Adonai, Lord, Jehovah. God seems to have a lot of names. What exactly are we supposed to call him? We invite you into the fascinating journey behind all the different names Jews and Christians have used to refer to their Creator throughout the centuries, and more importantly, why. Check out our third video in the 6-part exploration of the ancient biblical prayer called the Shema. Okay, and that's the devotional. So now when we hop into Deuteronomy, we're in chapter 7, and it talks about the privilege of holiness. Now, holiness is always, for me, it has like this negative connotation to it, where people are like, oh, you think you holier than everybody else, and you acting all holier than thou, and yada yada. So I've never really used the term holiness in my day-to-day, which means I'm not really sure how to go about the like what the privilege of it is, or like how to really define it in a more without the negative tone on it. Let's see. When the Lord your God brings you into the land you are about to enter and occupy, he will clear away many nations ahead of you: the Hittites, Girgashites, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. These 7 nations are greater and more numerous than you. When the Lord your God hands these nations over to you and you conquer them, you must completely destroy them. Make no treaties with them and show no mercy. You must not intermarry with them. Do not let your daughters and sons marry their sons and daughters, for they will lead your children away from me to worship other gods. This is in quotations, so this is God speaking. No? Is it? When the Lord your God hands you over, make no treaties with them and show no mercy. He will clear me. Okay, so then I'm confused. But it's okay. He's telling you not to intermarry or whatever, where it says, for they will lead your children away from me to worship other gods. That seems very like a direct from God statement. Then the anger of the Lord will burn against you, and he will quickly destroy you. So I'm just gonna compare that. Because then they would lead your children away from the Lord to worship other gods. If that happens, the Lord will burn the Lord will be angry with you and destroy you at once. Then they will turn your sons away from following me, and they will serve other gods. I mean, I guess we get the gist. It's just the point of view. Alright, I don't want you looking at my forehead. Or my hair at that. I guess we get the gist. It's just the perspective of how it's written that threw me off. Yes, don't let them marry into other families, because then we have this inter then it's trying to figure out how to tie in religions, right? It becomes how to incorporate that. And God's here, or Moses here, is saying, don't do that, so then you won't have to worry about how to blend all of this in. So Deuteronomy 7:5. This is what you must do. You must break down their pagan altars and shatter their sacred pillars, cut down their Asherah poles, and burn their idols. For you are a holy people who belong to the Lord your God. Of all the people on earth, the Lord your God has chosen you to be his own special treasure. The Lord did not set his heart on you and choose you because you were more numerous than other nations. Excuse me. The Lord did not set his heart on you and choose you because you were more numerous than other nations, for you were the smallest of all nations. Rather, it was simply that the Lord loves you and he has kept that the Lord loves you and he was keeping the oath he had sworn to your ancestors. That is why the Lord rescued you with such a strong hand from your slavery and from the oppressive hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Understand, therefore, that the Lord your God is indeed God. He is the faithful God who keeps his covenant for 1,000 generations and lavishes his unfailing love on those who love him and obey his commands. But he does not hesitate to punish and destroy those who reject him. Therefore, you must obey all these commands, decrees, and regulations I am giving you today. If you listen to these regulations and faithfully obey them, the Lord your God will keep his covenant of unfailing love with you, as he promised with an oath to your ancestors. He will love you and bless you. He will give you many children. He will give fertility to your land and your animals. When you arrive in the land he swore to give your ancestors, you will have a large harvest of grain, new wine, and olive oil, the great herds of cattle, sheep, and goats. You will be blessed above all nations on the earth. None of your men or women will be childless, and all your livestock will bear young. And the Lord will protect you from all sickness. He will not let you suffer from the terrible disease you knew in Egypt, but he will inflict them on all your enemies. You must destroy all nations the Lord your God hands over to you. Show them no mercy and do not worship their gods, or they will trap you. Perhaps you will think to yourselves, how can we ever conquer these nations that are so much more powerful than we are? But don't be afraid of them. Just remember that the Lord your God did Just remember what the Lord your God did to Pharaoh and to all the land of Egypt. Remember the great terrors the Lord your God sent against them. You saw it all with your own eyes, and remember the miraculous signs and wonders and the strong hand and powerful arm with which he brought you out of Egypt. The Lord your God will use this same power against all your people. Will use the same power against all the people you fear. And then the Lord your God will send terror to drive out the few survivors still hiding from you. No, don't be afraid of these nations, for the Lord your God is among you, and he is a great and awesome God. The Lord your God will drive those nations out of you little by little. You will not clear them away all at once. Otherwise, the wild animals would multiply too quickly for you. But the Lord your God will hand them over to you. He will throw them into complete confusion until they are destroyed. He will put their kings in your power. and you will erase their names from the face of the earth. No one will be able to stand against you, and you will destroy them all. You must burn their idols in fire, and you must not covet the silver or gold that covers them. You must not take it, or it will become a trap to you, for it is detestable to the Lord your God. Do not bring any detestable objects into your home, for then you will be destroyed just like them. You must utterly detest such things, for they are set apart for destruction. Don't bring an item that's set apart for destruction into your house, because then your house has to be destroyed along with that item. You have to be destroyed along with your house and that item. So it's like, don't bring these corrupt items. That's from this one, you want to call it corrupt or cursed or whatever. Don't bring them into your home, because death will surely follow. Destroy everything. No woman, man, child, nothing can survive in these lands, these territories. What do you think these people were doing to ignite God's anger so much that he would choose to give these 7 tribes, these 7 nations, to the Israelites? What were they engaged in? Like, what incited their anger, the anger of God so much that the whole nations, all the nations had to go? All of them, everyone in the nation had to go. A call to remember and obey. Be careful to obey all the commands I am giving you today. Then you will live and multiply, and you will enter and occupy the land the Lord swore to give your ancestors. Remember how the Lord your God led you through the wilderness for those 40 years, humbling you and testing you to prove your character and to find out whether or not you would obey his commands. Yes, he humbled you by letting you go hungry and then feeding you with manna, food previously unknown to you and your ancestors. He did it to teach you that people do not live by bread alone. Rather, we live by every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord. For all these 40 years, your clothes did not wear out, and your feet didn't blister or swell. Think about it. Just as a parent disciplines a child, the Lord your God disciplines you for your own good. Whoa, okay. So they spent 40 years not wandering, but camping and traveling in this desert. Kind of wandering, yes. I never even thought about like the clothes that they were wearing, or the swelling of their feet, the swelling on their blistering of their feet. They never complained about those things. They just complained about thirst and hunger, right? Yeah, they never actually had to complain about where's the food, or where's our clothes? Look at our clothes. We're in rags, or like our feet hurt too much to continue walking. That's how Moses was out here hiking back and forth on these mountaintops. Like, that's green. That's breaking right there. That's cool. So, obey the commands of the Lord your God by walking in his ways and fearing him. For the Lord your God is bringing you into a good land of flowing streams and pools of water, with fountains and springs that gush out in the valleys and hills. It is a land of wheat and barley, of grapevines, fig trees, and pomegranates, of olive oil and honey. It is a land where food is plentiful and nothing is lacking. It is the land where iron is it is a land where iron is as common as a stone, and copper is abundant in the hills. When you've eaten your fill, be sure to praise the Lord your God for the good land he has given you. But that is the time to be careful. Beware that in your plenty you do not forget the Lord your God and disobey his commands, regulations, and decrees that I am giving you today. That's a warning sign right there. Be aware that in your plenty, in your abundance, you do not forget to follow the Lord, his commands, regulations, and decrees. Because it's good now, right? It's good. You're over here like, oh, it's good. I don't need anything. What? What do I need? The Lord? Who is that? Because it's good now. What is that? Because it's good now, and it just slips your mind. You're not as dependent, when you're crutching through, when the hunger is catching on, when all of those things are rearing, it's not as obvious to you. Because your bellies are full and your heart's full of laughter and everything's good. Be careful. That's when you need to be the most vigilant. That's what he's saying. Ooh. They say that the easiest way, I've learned somewhere in whatever intake that I've done, that one of the easiest ways, or one of the easiest ways to turn the tides of a battle is to strike when the opponent thinks that they've won. Like right when they think they won. Because there's an ease where they let down their guard just a little bit. And that in that moment, it's an open opportunity to turn the tides. I think that's so good. Because it's telling you to stay on your toes. Even when you're at the top. Even when you see the top. Because you're climbing a mountain, right? You climb the mountain, and you're like, oh, I'm almost at the peak. Wow. And you almost breathe this sigh of relief for almost getting your victory. Almost getting to the top. Almost completing the assignment. Almost being done. You ever let your gun, you're just like, oh, I'm almost done. So it should only take like another hour or two, and then you postpone, and you only actually give yourself that hour, and then you dive back in, and you realize how much more work there was left, and that almost done wasn't anywhere near what you needed to, like, you was actually needed a good 4 or 5 more hours on it. Who knows? Almost. The almost will trip you up. The almost did it. I almost got it done. It's almost ready. Almost will trip you up. Right? So he's like, yo, be careful. Because you're going to think everything's good. You're going to think everything's okay. The rules and regulations are going to start slipping your mind. Because you're out here living the juicy kush good life. And now, someone comes in and traps you. And they're like, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know. But they entrap you. And you forgot the wisdom that the Lord is trying to instill you. And you forgot the commands that the Lord gave you. And you forgot the instructions and why they exist. Because those, things are good now. Be careful. What is the warning sign? Warning? Yes, give me like a neon green. Yeah, there we go. Deuteronomy 8:12. For when you have become full and prosperous, and have built fine homes to live in, and when your flocks and herds have become very large, and your silver and gold have multiplied along with everything else, be careful. Do not become proud at that time and forget the Lord your God, who rescued you from slavery in the land of Egypt. Do not forget that he led you through the great and terrifying wilderness with its poisonous snakes and scorpions, where it was so hot and dry. He gave you water from the rock. He fed you with the manna in the wilderness, a food unknown to your ancestors. He did this to humble you and test you for your own good. He did all this so you would never say to yourself, I have achieved this wealth with my own strength and energy. Remember, the Lord our God is the one who gives you power to be successful, in order to fill the covenant he confirmed to your ancestors with an oath. But I assure you of this. If you ever forget the Lord your God and follow other gods, worshiping and bowing down to them, you will certainly be destroyed, just as the Lord has destroyed other nations in your path. You will also be destroyed if you refuse to obey the Lord your God. Victory by God's grace. Listen, O Israel, today you are about to cross the Jordan River to take over the land belonging to nations much greater and more powerful than you. They live in cities with walls that reach the sky. The people are strong and tall, descendants of the famous Anakite giants. You've heard the saying, who can stand up to the Anakites? But recognize today that the Lord your God is the one who will cross over ahead of you like a devouring fire to destroy them. He will subdue them so that you will quickly conquer them and drive them out, just as the Lord has promised. After the Lord your God has done this for you, don't say in your hearts, the Lord has given us this land because we are such good people. He's saying, don't say that. No, it is because of the wickedness of the other nations that he is punishing them out of your way. That he is pushing them out of your way. It is not because you are so good or have such integrity that you are about to occupy their land. The Lord your God will drive these nations out ahead of you only because of their wickedness and to fulfill the oath he swore to your ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You must recognize that the Lord your God is not giving you this good land because you are good, for you are not. You are stubborn people. Remember why you're getting the gift. Remember why he's bringing you to this land. Remember, when you're in this land, it's not because you were so good you earned it. It's not because you were so good. He was like, yes, these are the good people. Let me drizzle them with some blessings. No. He was like, you're not the best people, but they is wicked and they gotta go. And I'm gonna use you, my people, to drive them out. So he don't gotta come down from the heavens and shower it with flame as he did before with Sodom. He don't gotta come down and do the work himself. He's not interfering on these lands anymore because he's got a group of Israelite people. He promised the land to them. He promised the land to them. And he's fulfilling those words, and he's driving out the evil. And he's telling these people, you're stubborn, but be humble. Sit down. You're not good enough to get this. It's not because you followed every law, command, decree, and because your heart is so good. It's like, nah, you're stubborn. You're stubborn people. And I know that. But I'm blessing you because I love you. I'm blessing you because I love your ancestors. I'm blessing you because I love to uphold my name. Wow, there's a lot of these. It's kind of crazy. Because you have to remember with every blessing that it wasn't something that you earned. With every blessing, it's not a work that you yourself fought for. I mean, you participated. You should participate in your blessings, obviously. Participate in your blessings. Help Jesus bless you. Like, help him. But don't ever turn around and sit down and go, I blessed myself through the work I did. And I gained this good. And I did it. I positioned myself here. Then someone's gonna have to tear you down. And then whose fault is it, right? Then it's like, oh, did you slip up? Oh, did you decide you were gonna let it go? Oh, did you want to lose everything, right? So we can claim the good, but when something bad is like, oh, when something bad happens, do we turn around and go, oh, I brought myself down. I brought myself down a notch. I kicked myself off I willingly jumped into the valley. Do you use that same heart posture? Do you position those words, that pride in the same way? Bruh, Don't turn around and be like, the good you got is yours, because you were good. No. You're not good. Don't get it twisted. You're not good. You just are it's just they're wicked. And they need to be driven out. And you will be blessed out of the love God is showing you. Out of the love God is showering on you. Don't get it twisted. Alright. Yeah, it's not because of the goodness or the integrity. But he's like, he went in. It's not because you deserve it. Not that it's not because you don't. But, it's God's grace that gives you this, so don't be prideful. Remembering the golden calf. Deuteronomy 9:7. Remember and never forget how angry you made the Lord your God out in the wilderness. From the day you left Egypt until now, you have been constantly rebelling against him. Even at Mount Sinai, you made the Lord so angry he was ready to destroy you. This happened when I was on the mountain receiving the tablets of the stone inscribed with the words of the covenant that the Lord had made with you. I was there for 40 days and 40 nights, and all that time I ate no food and drank no water. Ooh, is that like a fast? 40 night fast? 40 day. 40 day, 40. The Lord gave me the 2 tablets on which God had written with his own finger all the words he had spoken to you from the heart of the fire when you were assembled at the mountain. At the end of the 40 days and nights, the Lord handed me the 2 tablets inscribed with the words on the covenant. And then the Lord said to me, "Get up. Go down immediately, for the people you brought out of Egypt have corrupted themselves. How quickly they have turned away from the way I commanded them to live. They have melted gold and made an idol for themselves. The Lord asks, the Lord also said to me, I have seen how stubborn and rebellious these people are. Leave me alone so I may destroy them and erase their name from under heaven. Then I will make a mighty nation of your descendants, a nation larger and more powerful than they are. So while the mountain was blazing with a fire, I turned and came down, holding in my hands the 2 stone tablets inscribed with the terms of the covenant. There below me I could see that you had sinned against the Lord your God. You had melted gold and made a calf idol for yourselves. How quickly you had turned away from the path the Lord had commanded you to follow. So I took the stone tablets and threw them on the ground, smashing them before your eyes. Then, as before, I threw myself down before the Lord for 40 days and nights. I ate no bread and drank no water because of the great sin you had committed by doing what the Lord had hated, provoking him to anger. Ooh, is this another? He does it twice? Have you noticed? In Deuteronomy 19, I feared that the furious anger of the Lord, which turned I feared that the furious anger of the Lord, which turned him against you, would drive him to destroy you. But again he listened to me. The Lord was so angry with Aaron that he wanted to destroy him too. But I prayed for Aaron, and the Lord spared him. I took your sin, the calf you had made, and I melted it down in the fire and ground it into fine dust. Then I threw the dust into the stream that flows down the mountain. You also made the Lord... He's going to leave out the part where he made them drink all the water. Don't forget that part. Don't forget the part where you made him drink the ground up idol dust. Okay. Right. 22. You also made the Lord angry at Tabereth, Massah, and Kibroth Hattaavah, and at Kadesh Barnea. The Lord sent you out with his command. Go up and take over the land I have given you. But you rebelled against the command of the Lord and your God, and refused to put your trust in him and obey him. Yes, you have been rebelling against the Lord as long as I have known you. That is why I threw myself down before the Lord for 40 days and 40 nights, for the Lord said he would destroy you. I prayed to the Lord and said, O sovereign Lord, do not destroy them. They are your own people. They are your special possession, whom you redeemed from Egypt by your mighty power and your strong hand. Please overlook the stubbornness and the awful sin of these people, and remember instead your servants Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. If you destroy these people, the Egyptians will say, the Israelites died because the Lord wasn't able to bring them to the land he had promised to give them. Or they might say, he destroyed them because he hated them. He deliberately took them into the wilderness to slaughter them. But they are your people and your special possession, whom you brought out of Egypt by your great strength and powerful arm. I think that's the end of Deuteronomy 9. Yeah, we're into Psalms 55. So that's pretty much a recap of, like, this is a nice little brief, like, recap episode of what went down from the moment the Israelites get freed, what rules they're supposed to be following. It's like, hey, remember this, remember that you have rebelled, that you've been rebelling, that when you get this land, it's not because you're good. Remember, because if you remember, you can do good, you can do right by the Lord. That's what I mean. If you remember, you can do right by the Lord. So it's like, you're called, the Israelites here, they're called to trust God. No, they're called to love God. They're called to obey God. But I think they're also called to trust God, and that's the faith part, right? It's like the trust, have faith in him. And that's the biggest part in which they just fail time and time again. They fail to give him the trust he needs, the trust he deserves, you know? And that's why the rebellions are always, like, really being sparked out. Because if you were thirsty and had no water, but you trusted the God to provide, you wouldn't be rebelling. If you were thirsty if you were hungry and had no food, but you trusted that the God you loved would provide, you wouldn't be rebelling. If you were scared, lacked strength for battle, but you knew you were being called to a holy war, you would trust God, you would pick up your arms, and you would fight. It's a lack of trust. Psalms 55. Let's see. For the choir director, a psalm of David, to be accompanied by stringed instruments. Listen to my prayer, O God. Do not ignore my cry for help. Please listen and answer me, for I am overwhelmed by my troubles. My enemies shout at me, making loud and wicked threats. They bring trouble on me and angrily hunt me down. My heart pounds in my chest. The terror of death assaults me. Fear and trembling overwhelm me, and I can't stop shaking. Oh, that I had wings like a dove. Then I would fly away and rest. I would fly far away to the quiet of the wilderness. How quickly I would escape, far from this wild storm of hatred. Confuse them, Lord, and frustrate their plans, for I see violence and conflict in the city. Its walls are patrolled day and night against invaders, but the real threat is wickedness within the city. Everything is falling apart. Threats and cheating are rampant in the streets. It is not an enemy who taunts me. It is not an enemy who taunts me. I could bear that. It is not my foes who are so arrogantly insult me. I could have hidden from them. Instead, it is you, my equal, my companion, and close friend. What good fellowship we once enjoyed as we walked together to the house of God. Let death stalk my enemies. Let the grave swallow them alive, for evil makes its home within them. But I will call on God, and the Lord will rescue me. Morning, noon, and night, I cry out in distress, and the Lord hears my voice. He ransoms me and keeps me safe from the battle waged against me, though many still oppose me. God, who has ruled forever, will hear me and humble them. For my enemies refuse to change their ways. They do not fear God. As for my companion, he betrayed his friends. He broke his promises. His words are as smooth as butter, but in his heart is war. His words are as soothing as lotion, but underneath are daggers. Give your burdens to the Lord, and he will take care of you. He will not permit the godly to slip and fall. But you, O God, will send the wicked down to the pit of destruction. Murderers and liars will die young, but I am trusting you to save me. Yeah. Yeah. God who has ruled forever. Yep. Yep. God, we follow a wise king. You know, we may not have we may not have full unfeathered access into the throne room, but we follow a wise king. Okay? Nope. That's all. Um yeah. Tomorrow is day 56. Very, very close to our mini goal of 58 days, right? I'm just thrilled. I'm thrilled at the progress we've made, and I want to hold on and celebrate the progress we made, and just like really celebrate that, because consistency is not my friend. Okay. But I have consistently showed up to do this every day, and I've been given the strength to do it every day, and I've been provided with, for there was some sketchy days, I've been provided with the supplies I needed to do this every day, and it's just like I'm thrilled to see where we go. We have let's see if I can map real quick. We got 303 days left to go. So like there's definitely room for growth and improvements. And there's going to be lots and lots of change throughout the year. But either way, right now on day 55, I want to honor how far we've come and how close we are to our goals. One of them. I hope y'all have a good evening. Enjoy the rest of y'all hours until we meet again tomorrow. Yeah. Bye.